What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on my blue all-wheel drive sedan to get it ready for a race event in August. Now, if you guys haven't heard of Mendoza's racetrack, it is an 8th mile track that's on an airstrip, and a couple of my friends have already attended some of their past events, and they told me that the track is pretty cool, although you're probably going to be parking on the dirt. But they told me that the owner and the staff are pretty cool and pretty friendly, and they came together for this track for people like you and I who do stuff in Mexico. So the event is coming up, I believe it's August 2nd. I'll throw the flyer up right now. It's a all-night TNT / grudge racing. Run with your brung, call out whoever you want over there at the track, and just kind of have a great day testing your car out between you and a buddy or you and just some random people. So I want to take this car out there because I've never ran it before, and if you guys haven't seen a Race Wars video, I haven't ran that track even though it's local to me. Finally knocked that off my list, and Mendoza is next before H-Day in September. After Race Wars, I noticed that my blue car has a lot of engine movement because of the drive shaft hitting the belly pan and the dump tube not dumping out of the hole on the belly pan, and instead it dumps about 1.5 inches away. 1.5 inches is a lot of engine movement. So what I want to do today with the blue car is to build a 4th mount on the traction bar to the front of the engine if I don't have enough material to build a mid plate. Now, mind you guys, I have not gone through the garage to know if I have any material, so we'll figure it out as we go. But before we get to the blue car, I want to work on the silver car just a little bit while it's still on the driveway. If you guys haven't seen the last video, we tried to modify the hood to fit the breather lines from the valve cover to the catch can, but the 90 was sticking up a little too high where the hood is hitting all of this. So Amazon came through, got some new fittings. These are -10 120s. So if you look, it curves down quite a bit, and I'm hoping that it's going to clear the hood. So I'm gonna go ahead and just try this on the car real quick, and if it works, we'll build the line so we can have that done and out of the way. I don't know. It's just a little bit lower, like just a little bit lower. Not by much, but let's see. Huh. So last time I latched it with the 90 degree, the hood wouldn't come up by itself. But with the 120, it does. So it looks like that will work. So I'm gonna go ahead and build the lines really quickly. And there we go. Catch can lines are done. I don't like this kink right here, and I don't like that it doesn't flow together, but it will work. At the end of the day, it's gonna serve its purpose. So I'm gonna go ahead and close this real quick to make sure all 4 fitting doesn't touch the hood. Oh man. Now I don't like that it is going underneath like that, but you can see it kind of bulging on the hood when I close it. It's still hitting something. I see it right there. See that little dimple? A little dimple right there? That's this guy. Right there. I just need to turn that to the flat spot, and it should be good. The fitting is now turned to the flat spot. Let's see if it still hits. It does. I can feel it. Even though it hits, this is stationary, so it doesn't actually rock with the engine. As long as it latch, which it does, right? There's no gaps, which is good. And importantly, as long as it unlatches by itself, I'm cool with that. Okay, so I've been looking on the interweb and trying to figure out how the mid plates are mounted on the K series, and it looks like it's literally only 2 bolt holes, one in the back, one in the front, and it looks like it's this one here and this one here. Now I can try to utilize the 17 mil in the front right here. Just got to shave off this lip to make it flat, and some of the kits online uses a 3rd hole. Like if you look at this one, there's 3 holes, 1, 2, 3, which is this one right here. It's a 10 mil, and these are actually 14s. I was hoping that they were 17s, but they're 14s. This one's a 10, and there's a broken bolt inside of it. So probably not going to utilize that, but I'm going to try to make the plate go back and then go up to the block. So the mid plate is not only supporting the transmission, at least tie it into the block as well too, because I've seen a lot of mid plates break, and they tend to break this entire bottom bell housing right here, and that's because people are running the solid mount. So if you look at DP race parts, their mounts is solid to the traction bar, no bushings. Typically that's what the mid plate is to make sure the engine doesn't move. If you look at this one right here, no bushing. Now I have seen a couple of my friends who run mid plates but with bushings on the end of it to the traction bar, and they're putting down a lot of power but don't really have any major issues as far as, like, you know, breaking parts and stuff. So I'm gonna try to do it the same way. I'm gonna make my mid plate. I don't know what I have. I don't know how thick of a material. I know I have something over there, but I don't know how thick it is, but I'm gonna make it to a bushing style here, so it still has some sort of like absorption, and hopefully kind of like don't make it too solid to the point that it could potentially break something down here, because I don't want that to happen. A true mid plate would go from the bar to the subframe, but realistically, how can you make it go to the subframe on these cars? So most of the mid plates in the market is just bolted to the trans engine to just the traction bar. So that's our goal. I was going to try to make a motor mount like my brother's car, where you utilize this mount tab right here on the traction bar. Innovative actually sells a mount and bracket that sits on here and bolt in, which is what I had, and then I gave it to my brother. I made him a 4th mount, but by the looks of it, I don't really have a lot of space to put a mount or a plate up there, as much as I would want to do a front mount instead of a mid plate. But I don't have a, I guess we'll kind of figure out what will work and what doesn't as we go. Okay, I can use this as the bushing, and this is like, I don't know, it's like 2 inches wide, where this one is for the upper control arm for the EF chassis, and I don't really use this because I was buying a new one anyways, but this is much larger than this tiny guy, obviously, right? So looks like we're going to use this somehow. So I just got to figure out a sleeving. I know I got a bunch of like metal back here. Oh shit, look at that. So I guess that'll work out. These are some header tubes, some cutoffs. I have a whole bag of them right there, and this is like the perfect diameter for this bushing right here. 2270. Sick. I can't help but look at the 88 silver sedan. It looks so good sitting over here, aside from the steelies, the cord lip that we modified in the last video. Dude, if I took the K-Tune sticker off the traction bar, you would not notice it. It looks so freaking good. It looks OEM. Man, loving it. And if you guys didn't take note, I mentioned that the CB7 Accord lip is the same lip that I have on the blue all-wheel drive car. So let me show you guys this one real quick. This one's painted. CB7 Honda Accord lip. Same process I did to cut and mold it onto this bumper, 1991. And then the back side, you can see there's a plate there. This is before I got the plastic welder. So I plated it, and then I used a torch to melt plastic into it. And then I did body work on the front side. Honda Accord CB7 lip on the EF chassis. We make things work, baby. We have 23, and this has got to be like a one-time perfect cut to try to utilize as much of this as possible. I don't know if I'm going this way or going the other way, but let's double check to make sure that's enough to make a mid plate. So from the back of the transmission to the front, oh, 23 is way past the traction bar. That is plenty of material. So you guys already know what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and grab some cardboard. I'm gonna go ahead and draw out a template of how the mid plate is going to be shaped into, and then we're going to transfer the cardboard into steel. I did start my day late here in the garage, so the sun already went down, but we have the mid plate all cut out, and we have the two 14mm bolts bolted in. Right here, I already cut out the half moon that this guy's gonna get welded into, like that. And then it's just literally two tabs coming off the traction bar like this to bolt up to that. So that should be easy to make. I think this is enough clearance for if there are still any engine movement. I think eventually I will swap these mounts to half sport, and I want to build the rear mount again, because I guess when I did the custom rear mount, I didn't prop the engine enough. So I have like bad axle angle. You can see how close it is to the fork right there. The engine can lean more backward, which will help my drive shaft from pointing downward. So the transfer case is actually pointing down before it goes up to, you know, connect to the drive shaft. That's because, like I said, I didn't prop the engine enough to make that custom rear mount that I did up there. So hopefully when I swap over to half sport mounts, I'll make a new rear mount as well too, and then you know, get better axle angle and all that. But the mid plate shouldn't be much to modify when the engine shifts later down the road. But as far as right now goes, the mid plate is going to help the engine stay in place with the current mount and motor mount setup, because obviously we went through Race Wars, you know, 10 rounds without any issues other than the rocking. But so I'm going to spend the rest of my night making the tabs for the mid plate to the trans and block, and we'll probably pick back up with you guys tomorrow, because I hate showing you guys stuff in the dark. This tab is literally half a heart. taking a quick little break, eating my Jamaica hibiscus ice cream from the previous vlog. But guys, we have the mid plate somewhat done as far as cutting out all the pieces go. So you guys saw in the last clip, we tacked up all the pieces, and this took all day, the next day now, to like CAD everything up, because I just didn't feel comfortable with just the 2 holes on the bottom of the bell housing to run the mid plate. So I was trying to find different mounting point. I did mention to you guys I wanted to utilize that 10mm hole that's on the block, but I feel like that wouldn't have done anything because a 10mm thread is tiny, right? So after kind of like going back and forth trying to figure out how to go about mounting it to the engine itself, this is what I came up with. So obviously everything is CADed, right? Cardboard 80 design. This is the mount that goes to the traction bar that's going to hold the bushing, right? That's on the front of the mid plate. So in the back over here, this is the 17mm bolt that goes from the block to the transmission. So I made that piece, test fitted it 1,000 times because, you know, I didn't measure correctly a couple of times, and we got that all tacked up. This right here bolts up to that 17mm, and then this guy right here is a little half heart that is on the other side of the mid plate that bolts up to the front of the trans, where we had to grind off that little tab. And then this one right here in the front is the housing for the bushing. Now I am a little concerned that, you know, the plate itself is pretty thick. This is like 1/4 inch thick. Not too certain, but this is a piece of tubing from a header, and I think after a couple of like hard launches and stuff like that, if there are some crazy flex, this might collapse just because of how thin it is. Look at this plate, and then look at this guy. Yeah, I don't have any other tubing to like use that are thicker, and if it does have an issue later down the road where this collapse, then, you know, it's not that big of a deal to cut it off and get a bigger tubing to house the bushing. So for right now, we're just going to use it because I think 4 mount is obviously better than 3, and hopefully that will hold up for some time to keep the engine from rocking and beating up the belly pan itself. So this right here, guys, is my mid plate. For some reason in the photos the mid plate looks much larger, but now that I've actually done one and it's in my hand, it's pretty small. Look at my forearm, right? It's not that big, you know. That's what she said. But still, the mid plate seems shorter, I think, because the EF is snub nose, so the traction bar is actually closer to the transmission, opposed to like the EG, EK, or DC Integra, where the radius support is more forward, and the mid plate from like DP Race Part or, you know, aftermarket companies, it's much longer, right? And I feel like because most mid plates are hard mounted, this is actually like full solid steel instead of a bushing the way I'm doing it. So right now this thing is ready to be welded up. I tacked everything with MIG welding, and I'm gonna be grinding those down after I tack it in with the TIG machine, the Everlast. And once I get it all tacked up in every corner and all the material cleaned up, then we'll grind down the MIG weld to give this a full TIG job. So right now I'm gonna go ahead and just finish up my ice cream, and we're gonna get to welding. Guys, mid plate fully welded on. Back tab 17mm right there, front tab 17mm right there. These are the holes for the 14. I'm just not going to use that little 10mm that's supposed to be right here because there's still that bolt inside the transmission that's broken. The bushing itself all welded up, looking freaking awesome. I'm so happy I didn't have like a lot of sugar coating on the back side of the mount for the bushing, only top right here and this side where I had a little sugar coating. But I cleaned it up, the bushing goes on smoothly, and this thing I'm gonna leave it raw because just in case I need to modify it. Same goes for the mount that's on the traction bar. I'm gonna leave it raw until I pull the traction bar off to weld the top side of it. I'll show you guys in a second. I'm gonna leave this raw, And if everything works out, everything seems cool, it's easy to take off, and we'll just clean it up and put some coat of paint on it. And I just want to go ahead and install this in the car to make sure none of the mounting points shifted. So let me grab a light flash real quick. The tabs for the traction bar, weld it on the outside and on the inside, on both sides. Extra strength. The top side, I haven't welded it. You can kind of see it right there. I need to pull the traction bar down so I can weld the top side of it, but almost all the way through for the most part, if you guys can see. Somewhere up there, right? So I'm gonna leave this one raw as well too. And let's go ahead and install this mid plate and see how it fits. This is a little tricky. The 17 mil that's in the front needs to be threaded in first before all the other bolts, because it is really tight between the bushing, but it's doable. I can literally spin it by hand all the way in, before cranking it down. Once all the bolts are in place, the front one has to be tightened down first so that the mount is flush against the transmission. And then we can crank the rest of these guys down. I need a longer 14 mil bolt. Guys, check this out. I just realized this. So I'm gonna use a pry bar in front of the motor mount and traction bar, and look how much the engine moves. I did not notice this before, but check this out. eBay motor mounts. That is a lot of engine movement. My goodness, what in tarnations. Can you guys see that? That's no bueno. All right, let's see if we can try to torque this motor. Should I use the same point? Let's try that. Oh, it doesn't even move, dude. It doesn't even move. Okay, let's try to do it. Let me see. Right here. Look. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this thing. Okay. That does not freaking move. Okay, that's freaking awesome. Hopefully, less engine movement, better 60 foot. Heck yeah, dude. Let me show you guys one more time. Also, I forgot, I did clearance the top of the mid plate to clear the bolts for the twin disc, because it was coming really close and I wasn't comfortable enough for it to be that close. So I kind of cut this little U shape in the mid plate to make sure we have some clearance. And here's one more look. 17 mil bolt block to trans, 14 mil bolt here and here for the bell housing, 17 for the bell housing right here in the front. We got the energy suspension, lower control arm bushing with custom tabs. I think this right here took the longest to cut today because I literally did it by grinder and my belt sander, but we got it all done. Custom mid plate, guys. If you put your mind to it, anything is possible. Damn, guys, my eye looks freaking crazy. A piece of dirt fell into my eye when I was underneath the car taking pictures and recording on my phone just to have for future reference. And I'm super stoked that the mid plate turned out freaking awesome. Literally just made it out of cardboard CAD, cardboard aided design. And like I said, man, if you put your mind to it, anything is possible. Literally digging around in my garage, found a big flat steel, and it's like 1/4 inch. It's not as thick as, you know, what the other people sell, but it's definitely going to help the 3 soft motor mounts that's in the car. Really, the engine was solid when you rock it from the top, and even when I'm on a dyno, I haven't really seen it like shift a lot. but now being underneath the car and prying it, it does move a lot. And this 1/4-inch plate, obviously I've shown you guys that it helped with a lot of the engine movement. So hopefully when we go race in Mendota August 2nd, this car is going to do really well. I did read up on their Facebook, and it said that they have all the time slips to the 8th mile, but no 60-foot readings. Kind of weird that they don't have 60-foot readings, but at the end of the day, it's grudge race. It's more so whoever makes it to the end of the track first. So hopefully we go out there, have a good time. All I got to do with this car is do a once over and then wash it when we get closer to the date. But other than that, it is ready to rock and roll. What also took a lot of time today was me forgetting that I don't have tungsten to weld stainless, and literally all I had left was this, and I had to switch over to 1/16, and apparently 1/16 can handle like 60 to 150 amps, so I switched over to the 1/16 tungsten to be able to weld that big plate. But I need to buy more consumables because I more prefer to use 3/30 seconds to weld, and this is literally all I got left. So that took a little bit of time to figure all out, but nonetheless we got the plate done. Now before I wrap up this video, I did start recording late yesterday, and that was because me and my buddy Eric, we went to Fasteners Inc. to go check out some tools. If you guys remember, I tried to buy one tool a month, and I've actually now been 3 or 4 months late on buying a tool. And yesterday we went to Fasteners Inc. and I was gonna drop a bunch of money on tools, and fortunate for me, some of the stuff that I wanted to buy wasn't in stock, but the only thing they had in stock was this right here. I've been wanting this for a while now. If you guys remember the Race Wars video, we aired up the tires on the sedan using Bronson's tire inflator. And then events before that, I used the homie Jonathan's tire inflator. This thing is super duper clutch, and I know my brother uses it a lot on their cars outside, and this right here will also be very beneficial here around the house. Instead of having them move the car up to the driveway to use the air compressor to air up their tires, instead they can just take this handheld Milwaukee battery powered tire inflator and just go air up the tires on the street. And also I picked up Milwaukee hole saw kit because it was on the 50% table. Now the 30-piece set was like 150 bucks, but for the sizes that I use, this 10-piece kit had what I need, and it was only $20. So now we have some fresh Milwaukee hole saw for like gauges, for O2 bungs or blow-off valve. If you guys remember when I welded up the charge pipe, I had a hard time cutting the hole inside the flange because my hole saw was like super dulled out. So yesterday I picked up these two right here. They had another thing that I wanted in stock, which was the Milwaukee fan, but you know, I guess one tool a month, and then we'll add the fan onto the list to purchase next time we go over there. Anyways guys, we're gonna wrap it up for this video right here. I hope you guys enjoy the progress update on the blue all-wheel drive sedan, the custom mid plate that we made out of cardboard transferred to steel. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And I think we're gonna be working on the wagon tomorrow. I think I want to replace that broken axle that's in the back of my car and make the car full-wheel drive again instead of 3. So if you guys want to stick around to see some wagon here on the driveway, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.